With 2 frozen bananas that I thawed. You can also use fresh bananas here, but I like using frozen ones to use it up. And if you do have a little liquid left over from freezing them and then thawing them, just drain this out. So mash them up completely. Next, add 1 egg. For this muffin recipe, I'm using about 3/4 cup of sourdough discard, a 1/2 cup of milk. You can use any type of milk that you like. A 1/4 cup of avocado oil, or you could use melted butter, or you could use melted coconut oil. Next, I have 1/3 cup of agave nectar. You can use maple syrup, or you can use honey. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Mix your wet ingredients together until they're completely combined. And you can add the dry ingredients right to the same bowl. This is 1 cup of bread flour. I love using bread flour in my sourdough muffin recipes. It makes them very, very nice and fluffy. You could also use all-purpose flour, whole wheat flour, or even a 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. I'm adding 6 tablespoons of cacao powder. You can also use regular cocoa powder. 5 and 6. And finally, I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. This one I'm doing 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, but if you don't like cinnamon, you can leave this out. Mix the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients until they're just combined. Just make sure not to overmix muffin batter or they're not going to come out as fluffy. And 12 muffin tins with muffin papers. I like to use unbleached ones. I'm using 1/3 cup scoop to fill my muffins. So bake these at 375 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. The higher temperature is going to help them puff off a bit more. And here they are. Look at those beautiful tops. So I'm going to feed my sourdough starter. It's morning time here and I want to make focaccia bread tonight to rise overnight. My focaccia recipe calls for 120 grams of active bubbly sourdough starter. So this is the morning time. I'm going to feed it 60 grams of flour, 60 grams of water, and once it's nice and bubbly, I'm going to mix my dough up. And you can see there's really not much left in here. This is why I do a no discard sourdough method, because I use up pretty much all of the sourdough from the fridge in muffins. And then when I need a bubbly starter, I basically add as much as I need for what the recipe calls for. You don't need much to get a bubbly starter going. So zero it out, 60 grams of whole wheat flour. You can also use all-purpose flour if that's what you like, but I like whole wheat flour. It gives more flavor and it is healthier. Mix this all up. And we can move the rubber band down to right about where it is. So once this is doubled in size, I'm gonna make my focaccia bread recipe tonight.